Hey guys, I hope you all are doing well. So this one's for the CA Foundation folks out there. So rectification of errors. This is a topic which many people in CA Foundation find it tough to crack, don't understand, try to understand, but in vain. But this session today, I'm going to make this topic a cakewalk, and we're going to be solving every single question of ICA study mat here in this session. And I will add this video in a separate playlist so that you guys are able to access this with a lot of ease. So what are we waiting for? Let's jump into the chapter. So you just need to keep a couple of things in mind when proceeding to this chapter. So first thing being that you have to have a thorough understanding of journal entries. Without the thorough understanding of journal entries, it's not possible to crack this chapter. And I presume that all of you know journal entries. And in case you have doubts in journal entries, please complete journal entries and come back to this chapter. And even if you need a separate session on journal entries, do comment down below, and I will definitely do a separate video on journal entries as well. Second thing being, this is the most critical aspect. You need to have the patience to read the question, because if you don't have the patience to read the question, your understanding of journal entries is an utter waste. Because only when you have the patience to read the question, you will get an understanding of what is being asked of you, what is being expected out of you, and you will be able to crack it. So I hope you understood. So without any further ado, let's jump into the ICA study mat and let's start solving the questions. And as and when we are solving the questions, I will start explaining the concept so that you guys are just able to understand the same. So yeah, just a moment. Yep. Yeah, guys. So let's proceed to solve the questions. So first, so the theory part of it, we will just look at it as and when we are solving the questions, or I'll maybe do a separate session on it. I think you will get an understanding of it as and when we solve the questions. It's not going to be a big task, so don't worry about that. So, okay, so just let me just give you the basics of this chapter first before we start. So first thing, why this chapter? Why does this chapter even come into play? So the reason why this chapter, or why the concept of rectification of errors comes into play, is that there are many errors we might do while passing the journal entries. So we need to rectify them as a part of our accounting process to ensure that our books of accounts are perfectly fine. So our books of accounts do not have any issues. Our all the entries are perfectly fine. We need to ensure that, because as we need to follow the accounting principles in grade, we need to ensure that everything is perfectly fine. And suppose we've done a mistake, we need to rectify it to align with the accounting principles. So this is why the chapter first comes into play. So we'll be using a three-step approach to crack any question rectification of errors, and this is going to be a lifesaver for you guys. So just take it down. So what we will be doing is, first, so we will be seeing correct entry, CE. So I will be using CE everywhere I say correct entry. So this is the entry that should have ideally been passed. That should have ideally been passed, right? Next, wrong entry. So I'll use WE while doing this. So this is the entry that was wrongly passed. Okay, I think you guys should have understood this. RE, rectification entry. RE. So this is the entry that should be passed. I hope you all understood this. So we will be using the short forms when we are starting this chapter, so that we don't write the whole thing again and again. So what we will be doing is, correct entry, wrong entry, and rectification entry. So we will be using this three-step format to crack any question rectification of errors, and that's how we'll be starting. So without any further ado, let's just jump on to the first question. So illustration one is there. So illustration one, if I just come to your ICS study material, has also given you the format for the same. So I will just leverage that format there. From illustration two, I'll just start annotating and solving the sum. So illustration one, the total to the purchases book has been undercast by 100. So what are we trying to say here, guys? So just give me a moment. So yeah. So the total of purchase book has been undercast by 100. So what we are trying to say is your purchases total has been undercast by 100. So let's take this example. So let us say actual purchases is 1000, but entry has been passed only for 900. So correct entry that should have been passed. So as I said here, that should have idly been passed. What is the correct entry that should have idly been passed? Purchases account debit 1000 to trade payables. So I'll just write TP next time 1000. So what is the wrong entry that has been passed? We have wrongly passed the amount only in purchases. So if you just read the question carefully, the total of purchases book has been undercast by 100. They are not saying anywhere that trade payables has been undercast by 100. It is only purchases that has been undercast by 100. So this is where I told you that reading the question carefully plays a very big role. So here we go. So purchases account debit 900 to trade payables 1000. So rectification entry. So this is the net entry we need to pass to give the correct impact in our books. So what will we do when we do something wrong? So I think you guys will never forget this. So let us say let us say I made a mistake here. I wrote, let's say I made a spelling mistake in trade payables. What will I do here? Very simple. I will just take an eraser, erase it, right? Very simple. So, but in books of accounts, we cannot erase what has been done. So that is why there is a concept of reversal. So what we will do is, so I won't write this again, but for your understanding, I'll just do this in this question alone. And for the forthcoming questions, you will understand how it is to be done directly. Reversal of wrong entry. Because we cannot erase it in our books of accounts. We will say trade payables, debit to purchases account. Because this is wrong, we need to erase this. So forget this now. Just forget this. So trade payables is 1000. This is 900. So what will happen? Debit is here. Purchases of. So debit of trade payables 1000 is here. Here credit is here. Debit and credit are opposites. They will get cancelled. Now if I come to the rectification entry, I will say purchases made debit is 1000. Your credit is 900. So net purchases in your debit is 100 to suspense account. Why suspense account, guys? So what is suspense account? I will explain that here. So suspense account is basically an account which you bring into play when you don't know, when your single entry and double entry don't match. Basically, if you see the wrong entry that has been passed, your debit has an amount of 900 while your credit has an amount of 1000. So your debit and credit do not tally here. So whenever your debit and credit do not tally, and when you don't have any account to tally it, a suspense account acts as a bridge there. It acts as a facilitator. It is brought in to tally it. So if you see here, this is the entry that will be passed. So in your book, I'm not sure, I don't think they've passed the entries. So this is what they've just said. The purchase account should receive another debit of 100 since it was debited short previously. So I think they've not spoken about the concept of suspense account here. They just speak about it in the forthcoming illustrations. But anyways, we will just discuss that here. The returns inward book has been undercast by 50. So what is returns inward? So for those of you who don't know, returns inward is sales return. Why is returns inward equal to sales return? Basically, returns inward means goods are coming to you inside. When will goods come to you inside? Goods will come to you inside your premises only when the goods have been returned by your customer. Basically, you sold initially. Then what has happened is your customer returned the goods. They are coming inside. That is why this is referred to as returns inward. I hope you understood that returns inward and sales return are same and you understood the logic for the same. Yeah. So, and for information, when we sell goods, we pass entry debtors account debit or your trade receivables account debit to sales. And when your goods come inside, we pass the entry sales returns account debit to debtors. So this is the entry we pass or your returns inward. You can refer to anything. So basically, you have to understand that sales is a sales account is credited and returns inward is debited. So returns. So when you need to increase your returns inward, you need to debit it. So what has happened here? So if you see your returns inward book has been undercast by 50. So it is actually wrongly understated by 50. So it is 50 less. So what we need to do, we need to increase it to the extent of 50. So to increase it to the extent of 50, we need to debit it because we saw just now that returns inward is actually a debit balance. So we need to debit it, right? So we will pass the entry returns inward account debit. Again, just for your convenience, in the first question alone, I'll be doing the correct entry, wrong entry, and rectified entry format. Correct entry is returns inward account debit. Again, let's say it's been undercast by 100, I believe. Sorry, it's been undercast by 50. So let's say your actual returns inward is 1000 to debtors, or your to trade receivables TR 1000. Your wrong entry is returns inward debit 950 to trade receivables 1000. You will reverse the wrong entry, reversal trade receivables debit 950 to your returns inward 9 you to your sorry, trade receivables debit 1000, my bad, to your returns inward 950, your rectification entry. So basically forget this. Trade receivables will get cancelled. So your returns inward has a net debit of 50 because 1000 is there in the debit already. You have 950 in the credit, so net is 50, debit 50, and in the credit you don't have anything, so you have to bring a new account called suspense account. So that's it. So the correct entry will be to undercasting of returns inward book for the month of 50. So basically that's what they're again saying. So a payment of next is a sum of 250 written off as depreciation on machinery has not been posted to depreciation account. So basically what has happened is you have not posted to your depreciation account, but your machinery has been done perfectly. I think basis the previous entries, you will understand the fact that your machinery is remaining unaffected, but depreciation may you have not posted the account. So the full amount has not been posted to depreciation. So we'll pass the entry as depreciation account debit. Sorry, I think I'm not able to annotate here for some reason, but anyways, no worries. Depreciation account debit 250 to suspense account 250. So why depreciation debit? So again, if you want the correct entry, wrong entry, I'll anyways do it. So your correct entry is depreciation debit 250 to machinery 250. Your wrong entry, so basically they did not debit depreciation, they forgot to debit, they didn't debit anything at all. So it's to machinery 250. Your debit has nothing. So you reverse your wrong entry. So when you reverse your wrong entry, it will be machinery debit 250. Just forget this. So when you have machinery debit 250, these two will get cancelled, and your rectification entry depreciation debit 250. So what will you do in your credit? You don't have anything in your credit, so it will be to suspense account 250. Perfect. Yes, perfect. So that's it. And this how we did this. And next, a payment of 75 for salaries to Mohan has been posted twice to salaries account. So what is the entry you'll pass for salaries? You'll pass your entry for salaries as salaries account debit salaries account debit 75 to bank account 75. That is your correct entry. That should have ideally been passed. But what is the management done? They passed the entry salaries account debit 150 to bank account 75. So bank has been correctly posted. So if you read carefully here, it is saying a payment of 75 to Mohan has been posted twice to salaries account. So it means that only your debit leg is getting affected wrongly. Your credit leg is perfectly fine. So what has happened? You have debited salary excess to the extent of 75. So since you have debited an excess of 75, what will you do it to nullify? You will credit salaries to the extent of 75 and you will debit your suspense account. So the rectification entry will be suspense account debit 75 to salaries account 75. So yeah, that's what they're saying. The excess debit will be removed by a credit in the salaries account by the entry. So again, as I told you here, guys, in this question, they are not giving you the rectification entry. So they're just asking you how would you rectify the following errors. But I just wanted to take this question as a reference and explain to you how we crack the questions. So I hope you understood this. Next, a total of bills receivable book 1500 has been posted to the credit of bills receivable account. So what has happened here? So bills receivable. Let's crack this. Bills receivable should be debited to the extent of 1500. But it's been wrongly credited to the extent of 1500. So what will you do first? So you have wrongly done a credit. To remove that credit, you will debit 1500. to nullify the impact. So this is for nullification. So after it's nullified, you will not have a bills receivable balance at all in your books, but you should ideally debit it to the extent of 1500. So this is nullification. Over and above this, you will debit 1500. So the rectification entry is bills receivable account debit 3000, because 1500 you will debit to nullify the wrong credit you had given, and additionally 1500 you will debit to create an asset to suspense account, because your credit is perfectly fine. So that's what they said, that your credit is perfectly fine. So what have they done here? What solution have they given here? 1500 should have been debited to the bills receivable account and not credited. To correct the mistake, the bills receivable account should be debited by 3000 by the entry. Yeah, so the entry again they've not given, they've just given the narration there. So next one. So an amount of 157 for credit sale to Hari, although correctly entered in the sales book, has been posted as 115. So what they are saying is 151 was the credit sale to Hari. So sales is perfect. That's what they're saying. In sales account, we have done the treatment correctly. But in Hari, we have posted it as 115. So what is the correct entry that should ideally be posted? Hari account debit 151 to sales 151. What is the wrong entry that's been posted? The wrong entry that's been posted is Hari debit 115 to sales 151. Reversal again. Sales debit 151 to Hari 115. Your sales, just ignore this entry now, we don't need this now. Sales and sales are going to get cancelled. Your rectification entry, net impact. In Hari, you have a debit of 36. But what do you have in the credit? You don't have nothing in the credit. You don't have anything in the credit. So your credit is going to go to suspense account 36. Perfect? Yes. Perfect. So what have they said here? Hari's personal account is debited rupees 36 short. The rectification entry will be to wrong posting 36. So basically they are again saying Hari account debit 36 to suspense account 36, pretty much what we've done. So they're just saying that in the form of a narration, not in the form of an entry. So don't worry guys, the next questions will have an entry format aligned to it, and in your exam you won't be asked a question like this. I am doing the entries for you to understand it better, so your other questions will be fully based on entries, so you don't need to worry about them. You can also cross verify the answers for the other questions. Discount allowed to Satish has not been entered in the discount column of the cash book. The amount has been correctly posted to the credit of his personal account. So what do we understand here? Credit is fine. Discount allowed is not posted, right? So what is the journal entry we will be passing is, let's understand this here. Correct entry, discount allowed account debit. What's the amount? Sorry. Satish, discount allowed to Satish 25. So discount allowed account debit 25 to Satish account 25. Your wrong entry is, so debit, you've not posted anything. That's what they've said. So discount allowed, you've not posted. So wrong entry is to Satish, sorry, 25, my bad. To Satish account 25. Again, you will reverse this. Reversal of wrong entry will be Satish debit 25. Ignore this, forget this, erase this. Debit and credit are going to get knocked off. Your rectification entry is discount allowed account debit 25. Credit, what do you have? Sir, we have nothing. We don't have anything. To suspense account 25. Perfect. Yes, sir. So omission of discount allowed to Satish. So again, they are just saying that the entry is discount allowed account debit 25 to suspense account 25. So this is an example which they've given. Basis the correct entry, wrong entry, rectification entry format. That's what I pretty much explained to you. You don't need to really see this. If you want, you can maybe refer this. So let's come to the next question. So this question is again a good question, decent question to start off. But anyways, you started off with illustration one, so I think illustration two will be a bit better. So moving on to illustration two, guys. So yes, sir. So we'll just move on to illustration two. Just give me a moment. Yes. Beautiful. So illustration two, here we are. The following errors were found in the books of Ram Prasad and Sons. Give the necessary entries to correct them. So just remember that you need to say journal entries in the books of Ram Prasad and Co. Just write the full forms in exams, guys, and you need to say your one particulars, debit, credit. Just write that format in exam. And many people have this question whether we can write this correct entry, wrong entry, and rectification entry format in exam. Yes, you can do that, guys. But what I would suggest you is once you write the rectification entry, just underline that or put a box around it, maybe like this, and just underline that and say final answer. Because what the examiners will do is that they won't really look at your correct entry and wrong entry. The marks are awarded only for your rectification entry. Or another thing, what I would suggest is you can maybe do your correct entry, wrong entry in rough, and you can do the reversal of the wrong entry. You can do the cancellations, and you can ultimately arrive at the rectification entry and write that alone in exam. Whatever suits you, guys. Anything is perfectly fine. Ultimately, you need to arrive at the correct answer. That's what matters the most. So yeah, I hope you understood. So we'll just start off with illustration two. So the following errors were found in the books of Ram Prasad and Sons. Give the necessary entries to correct them. Final paid for furniture purchased has been charged to ordinary purchase account. Yes. So we have purchased furniture. So Ram Prasad and Co has purchased furniture, but they have wrongly taken it to purchase. Is that correct? No. It should ideally be taken to furniture account because furniture is an asset. Purchases pertain to your inventory. So what is the correct entry? Entry that should have ideally been passed. Furniture account debit. Sorry, what's the amount? 500. Sorry, furniture purchased 500 paid. Okay, it's a cash. Okay, anyways, that's not relevant because the mistake is only in the debit aspect. Credit is fine. Wrong entry is purchases debit 500 to bank 500. Your reversal will be bank to purchases 500. So some people might be smart enough such that they know that basically a reversal entry is basically the reversal of wrong entry, and they will do the cancellation itself in their minds. It's perfectly fine if you're able to do this in your mind. You can definitely do it, but I would suggest you not to do it. Let's just take a conservative stance. Let's do it on pen and paper, right? Let's not take that risk. Let's not be overconfident. Let's not be too cocky. Let's not get carried away. Let's just do it on pen and paper. Get a comfort and then write the perfect answer, because what matters to us is the accuracy and not the speed. Yes, speed does matter, but if there's speed and not accuracy, what's the point in having that speed? So yeah, so rectification entry. So forget this, throw this in the dustbin. So bank debit 500 and bank credit are going to get cancelled. Your rectification entry is furniture 500 to purchases 500. Perfect. Yes, sir. So what have they got? Yes, they've got the same thing perfectly right. Yes, repairs made were debited to building account. I think similarly here. So repairs made were debited to building account. So repairs is a revenue expenditure, and we've wrongly taken it as a capital expenditure. So your correct entry is repairs account debit to bank. Wrong entry is building account debit to bank. Reversal is bank account debit to building. Rectification entry. So throw this in the dustbin. Your bank is debited here, your bank is credited here, cancelled perfectly. Rectification entry is repairs account debit to building. Yes. So what have they got? Bingo. Perfect. Yes. So next one, an amount of 100 withdrawn by the proprietor for his personal use has been debited to trade expense account. So pretty much simple. Anyways, we'll just crack this. So what is your correct entry? So what is the entry when the amount is withdrawn by the proprietor, guys? Your amount is taken out from the business. So when you're so your it's a real account. So cash is a real account or your bank account is a real account. So what is the entry? Your entry is debit, what comes in, credit was what goes out. Your bank is going out of your business, your cash is going out of your business to bank. And when you withdraw, your capital is getting reduced. Your capital is usually a credit balance. So when you're reducing it, you have to debit it. So when you're withdrawing from the business, it's pretty much capital which you're withdrawing, which has another name called drawings. So drawings account debit. I think you all know this. You would have all studied this in your journal entries. In case you are not aware of this, please visit your journal entries back. Come back to this chapter. Then, after doing a thorough revision of that, or if you need a video on journal entries as well, I'm more than happy to do that. Please do comment down below if you want a video on journal entries, and I will be beyond elated to do that. So, your correct entry is drawing account debit to bank. Your wrong entry, the entry which basically they have wrongly posted, they have debited trade expenses account. Again, you'll reverse this bank debit, cancelled, cancelled. So, throw this entry in the dustbin. We don't need this rectification entry. Drawings account debit to trade expenses account. Yes, sir. Perfect. I think that's what they've also got. Yes, right. Next one. 100 paid for rent debited to landlord's account. So this one is again easy. So your correct entry. So 100 paid for rent, right? So it'd be your rent expense account debit to bank. Sorry. So you paid it. I didn't see that. Sorry. My bad. Very, very sorry, guys. Rent account debit to bank account. Correct entry. Your wrong entry is, so what have they done? Sorry. Rent 100 paid for rent debited to landlord's account. Sorry, my bad. Just a moment. So when you reverse this, it will be bank account debit to landlord account. So in the correct entry, bank has already been credited. In your wrong entry, you're reversing it debit. So this and this will get cancelled. Rectification entry, rent account debit to landlord. Because landlord you are debited as a part of your entry, you will credit and knock it off. Yeah, that's what they've done. Perfect. Uh, Next, salary 125 paid to a clerk due to him has been debited to his personal account. Again, this is the same entry again. So same as the previous one. So your correct entry is salary account debit to bank. Your wrong entry is your staff's personal account debit to bank. Your rectification entry is your salary account debit to your staff's personal account. So same as the one. It's just that the account name has been changed. So what have they done? Yes. To staff's, I told staff's personal account. They've used clerk's personal account. Perfect. Anything is fine. So that's fine. Next, 100 received from Shah and Co has been wrongly entered as Shaw and Co. So this one is pretty simple. So you have basically made sales to Shah and Co. Sales made to Shah and Co. So you received cash from Shah and Co. So what is the correct entry that should have been passed? Bank account debit to Shah and Co. What is the wrong entry that has been passed? Um, Bank account debit to Shaw and Co. So when you're reversing the wrong entry, it will be Shaw and Co debit to bank. I'm not writing it again. I will not be writing it again for the subsequent questions because I guess you guys would have understood that now you will be doing that for the questions where there are some questions where you will be having compound entries. There I will obviously be doing the reversal, writing that down also because it takes a bit of thinking there. But these are straightforward. I think these are a bit straightforward compared to the ones you've seen right now. So basically, your bank will be reversed here. So this will be knocked off. Your rectification entry, you wrongly credited Shaw and Co. You need to debit Shaw and Co. Debit to Shaw and Co. Perfect. Yes, sir. Perfect. What if they said yes? Perfect. Next, 700 paid in cash for a typewriter was charged office expense account. So this one I don't think you need to write. Like for the simpler ones, it's preferable not to write. But again, if you just for your comfort, you can write and see the correct entry, wrong entry. Anyways, I'll just write it down. It's fine. 700 paid for cash for a typewriter. So you're buying a typewriter. It was charged to office expenses account. So entry you should have passed is typewriter debit 700 to cash 700. Wrong entry is office expenses debit 700 to cash 700. It's just frozen just a moment, guys. Come on. Yeah. So when you reverse it, it'll be cash account debit to office expenses account. Your cash and cash are going to get cancelled. The rectification entry. Typewriter account debit to office expenses account 700 700. Yes, perfect. So that's it. I think we're done with this. We're done with illustration 2, I presume. Yes, we are done with illustration 2. So illustration 3, you will see in the next part of the video, which I'll be releasing in a few hours from now. So yes, so I hope you found this insightful. So keep learning, keep growing. Thank you so much. And in case you have any doubts or in case you need a video on journal entries, basics, do comment down below and I will definitely do a video. I'm more than happy to do a video. So do share this with your friends if you found it useful and if you feel that I deserve a share. So go for it, hit the share button. Comment down if you have any doubts and I will be more than happy to take them up. So cheers. Thank you so much, guys. Keep learning, keep growing. Thank you so much. Cheers. Thank you.